Hi, I'm Corey. Welcome to Creating with Scraps. Tracy Fox and I were chatting recently about how we'd both like to spend more time in the craft room, but for a variety of reasons, we're not able to. And that we still want to make, that we still want to put journals together and put elements for journals together. And so we kind of hashed it out. And I said, well, what if we did something like the Make It in Minutes challenge? And she said, how about 10-minute makes? So what this is about is a kickoff to what I'm calling 10-minute makes. Now, the idea being that you can come into their craft room or your crafting space for just a little bit of time, take supplies you probably already have on hand, and make something fun to put inside your junk journal. On that note, I've got some really super simple junk journal ideas in mind that I'm going to share with you to put together a super simple junk journal that anybody can do to put the items that we're going to be making. Now, there's not going to be a set number or a set number of days between them. It's really kind of as time and inspiration allow. But the whole purpose or goal is to create something in just a fairly short amount of time that you can put in your junk journal that feeds your need to create and makes you happy. So I'm going to start with something that is long, long overdue. In June, I was supposed to participate in the Let's Go Steampunk challenge offered by Sherls Hansen, and I had indicated that I would, and I have apologized to her personally, but I wanted to do it publicly as well. There's a huge variety of factors that went into play. My day was June 7th, and even though I had everything done and prepped, I had no voice at that point and had some health issues and some school issues and family, all the things, and I couldn't do it. And then life got out of hand, and so I thought the project that I was going to make with that, I can share here. And so this one may take me a bit more than 10 minutes simply because it wasn't designed to be a quick make, even though this is a quick make. So what I'm going to show you is this. And steampunk was the idea. Part of the reason I couldn't do it at that time is I had made a sample to share, and I can't find it anywhere. So I made another sample for a book that I'm working on. And basically, it's a steampunky gear type thing, hidden pocket. And it's something we've done in cards for years and years. But I thought I would show it here too. So this just looks like, this is a page for a small book or an embellishment to put. But it's on a little hinge. And inside, you've got like a hidden pocket, and underneath hidden pocket. And like this is just a little journaling spot. And then you pull this little hinge back down and close up that pocket, and nobody even knows it's there. So it's kind of gearish, steampunkish. And I made this sample for a mini journal that that I've been kind of playing with a little bit, and I'll show you this one later in the JJ 10-minute makes. But I made it to size to fit this, so I eventually will have a lace seam binding, and this will be a page inside of it. So here is the sample, and I will show you quickly how we make it. Now, I've been absent for a while, and I know some people come just for the projects, and so I'll start with that, but I'll do a quick catch-up. I've got a few shares and some ideas, things that I wanted to go over with you. So I'll do that at the very end. So the make will be at the beginning, and then I'll quickly share some things at the very end. Though I'm going to do this as a shout out. So my pin bent and I couldn't put it in my glue bottle anymore. So I ordered on Amazon some stainless steel pins. Well, they're not stainless steel. These suckers rusted the first day. So if you know of a shop or a place that I can order, one of those really cute dangly pins or an actually stainless steel pin for my glue bottle, that'd be fabulous. Just pop it below and I'll get back to you. Okay, so the construction of this. Again, this is totally based on card making and something we used to do in card making. Gosh, I probably maybe did it 20, 25, 30 years ago, long time ago. And it's just the idea that this little piece moves up and down, and whatever image or embellishment you put on it, let's just say I was putting a plain old card like this, it'll move up and down your page easily and freely. And that's what it does here on this one. I use that same mechanism on the back, and I'll fold this over to glue it into my journal as a page, but you can easily and freely move it up and down. And these are just leftover, what you're seeing right here is leftover bits from the Rach and Bella Craft collaboration I did earlier this year. And though I thought they were really pretty. And see, once it's on the page and it's stationary, it comes up and down really easily. And it's adjustable. This will work with any size page, no matter what you want to do. You can just make it bigger or smaller. So I am, without further ado, going to show you how I do it. Now, any product you have. So any embellishments, any paper, any style, color, this works with whatever you've got. Of course, I'm using Sherls, and her site is Sherls Crafts. And this is a printable, and she's got a Ko-fi shop and Instagram and Facebook, and she sells these, and I believe she has a Facebook group too. So anyway, this is the person who made the kit that I'll be using here, and this is the Steampunk one. Suggestion number 1. I had regular copy paper, the Epson copy paper that I use, printed, and I wanted to use that. Honestly, what I did is I made a base for it with cardstock. Cardstock is the way to go. You can use scrap cardstock, and you can do what I did and cover the cardstock with your regular pattern paper, but really cardstock is, because you need this part, the little flip up and down. You want that to be kind of sturdy. So my suggestion is use cardstock, or use cardstock as your base and then cover it. All right, so here is the little mechanism, and I made this one a little wide on purpose so that you could see the slit that it goes up and down in. And I put the circle punch there, and it just slides up and down. And I'll take this out to show you, and I'll show you exactly how to construct it. And I've got some pieces already prepped. But basically, it's just these 2 pieces. Well, this is 3 different pieces. And then you put it on here like this, and then whatever embellishment on the front, and then you slide it up and down. And because I made a pocket on the bottom of mine, on this one right here, right on my sample, because I made a pocket, you can hide that pocket, and that gives you the hidden pocket effect. All right, any size cardstock, or if you're going to do what I did here, what I did is I took the solid paper, or the pattern paper that I had, and I glued a scrap. This was just like an offcut. I've got some that are I don't know, these are page inserts, but just a piece of cardstock. Maybe it was a misprint, or it didn't come out right. These aren't cardstock, but like your scrap paper or scratch paper, just any piece of card or heavier weight paper. So either that as your base, or cover a piece of that with whatever size you want. Okay, and again, I'm using Sherls kit, so let me put and I'd pre-cut my pieces. I had all this prepped so that I could just kind of go on. Now, I used a circle because I had a circle punch, and this is one of those scanner deal pages, and I had this as a sample, so I just punched a bunch of these. But you can use a rectangle or a square or whatever you want. The idea is just that you're fitting it into that slot and sliding it up and down. Cheryl had some gorgeous steampunky images. The owl spoke to me simply because I love Harry Potter. And then the kit that she got, or she shared with us, has some cool gears and wheels and that type of thing. Now, you can use metal, but I wanted to use paper for this particular one. And sorry, I've got stuff everywhere. And am I even in frame? So what I did was I cut one of the wheels from one of the pages of her kit. And if I remember correctly, she had both, general steampunky colors, and then she had a pastel one. So if you like pastel colors, that's it. So anyway, I cut one of these wheels out because I didn't want to cut a shape. I wanted to use the owl as the pull, and I didn't want to cut a shape to fit the owl. I wanted it a little bit bigger. So I thought it'd be really cool if we put the owl right on top of the gear. Now, couple different ways I can do it. And I think what I'll do, just to give it a little bit of depth, I'll use mounting foam to mount the owl to that. But you don't have to. You can glue it right on there if you want it a little bit flat. Lord knows, I don't mind chunky in my books at all, but some people I know don't like it. So this is just 3M mounting foam. You can use any of the different mounting adhesives. I just happen to have this at hand, and so that's what I'm going to use. So I am going to use a bit of that and put it on, and then I'll cut this one here. And I'm going to put it on the back of, where'd that go? Oh, here it is. It's on the scissors. Put it on the back of my owl. Now this desk is messy because I've got on to the side, I've got some of the, right after school was out, my husband and I bought a 20 foot travel trailer, and we went to Indiana to pick it up, knowing that I was going to have several surgeries this summer, and we wanted to take a vacation before it wasn't an option. So anyway, when we were there, we went just to a few shops and stores and such, and I found a few treasures. So went to the auction in Shipshewana. And we bought our travel trailer, for anybody who cares, at Showalter RV in Napanee, and absolutely thrilled with the people, the service, and we got 19 FD Rockwood E-Pro, I think is what it's called. Okay, anyway, so you can see there I've mounted it. I didn't mount it perfectly. Shoot. Well, let's see if I can do it. I was talking, so you can see right here it's not a perfect mount. You can see that line. I should have put the little owl guy over a little bit more, but I'll tear the paper if I do that. So you know what? I'm going to call it good enough. It's close enough to the center for me. So I've mounted him on here, and the reason being, now I'll easily be able to mount it on the circle that I'm going to use for this section of my hinge. Okay, so I've got my cardstock, or maybe I want to use brown. I really like the brown. Maybe I'll use brown. Okay, so I'm not going to use that one. And I've got my embellishment for the top. And what I did is I used, sorry, I've got all these pieces here. I used some of her gear cards. Like, these are great little library card size cards. And I used these to create the quote unquote background pocket. And I haven't decided which one I want to use. I just cut a whole bunch of them. So I'm going to take this cardstock. This is, I don't even know, maybe Tim Holtz. Sure. And rather than folding it in half, I am going to cut myself about, I don't know, half an inch, 1 inch. It doesn't need to be very big. I'm going to cut myself a strip. I normally use just a scrap of cardstock for that, but for the sake of ease, I'm just going to cut this off. And I need a piece, this is long enough. This is what, maybe 6 inches or so. It doesn't have to be very long. That's going to be for this piece right here. This is going to be for our slider piece. So you need 3 pieces. You need the card, whatever you're going to mount it on. You need the base. In this case, I punch circles. And then you need the slider piece. And the slider piece is just a strip. All right. So now I'm going to build. I'm just going to fold this in half, and I could score it, but then I'd have to measure it. So I'm just going to fold it and score it. And you know, I do this a lot because, like, oh, you can see here, I didn't do that perfectly because card is notoriously difficult to fold perfectly because of the way it wiggles. But I'll do this, and you can see there I didn't match it up really great. Well, I can also fix that. Trim a sliver off here because I don't need a very specific size for this particular one. If I needed a specific size, obviously I'd have to change and be more meticulous, but I don't really have to for this. Okay, so now everything matches up. It's nice and even and easy. Here's my page. You do not have to do this two-sided. I did it here and here because of the way I wanted to create the page, but you could do just this part and then mount it on whatever you're doing for your page or your pocket or your what have you when you're done. I'm just doing it this way so that I can put this directly in a journal if I want to. So I'll work on this side. And then I use a cutting mat, a craft blade, and a ruler. All right. So I've got my slide, my embellishment slide. I don't know how well you can see that owl, but he's really cool. I put a little bit of Nouveau Distress Glaze on to make his goldish bits fly out. And I don't know how well that shows, but I thought he was really cool. And you can see here, he'll slide up and down really easily. Now, because this is already card, and then these are printed on card, what I'm going to do is put, I don't even know which pieces I want. So I want this to be my hidden pocket. And I don't want my hidden pocket to be obvious. Is that upside down? I can't even tell. Nope, that was right. So my card, I'm opening my card. So I want to be intentional about spacing and placement. Do I want them all the same? I just have to think about that. If I were just using a solid piece of paper, this wouldn't be as big of a deal, or 2 pieces of paper, as you can see here. This is a solid piece on back, and then this is the pocket on top. I had just cut a tiny piece and wrapped it around. So I need something for the pocket. So maybe I'll put these for the pocket. The owls and rabbits, those kind of go hand in hand. So just playing around with what I want where. But the bottom is going to be my pocket. And then the top is going to be my background. Oh, the clock is kind of cool. You know what? These all have circles. So maybe I'll do it something like this. Okay, so that is going to be what I'm going to put on my background. And the owl is going to be the piece that goes up and down. And yeah, I think I'm going to do something like that. So again, I'm doing it a little bit differently because of the kit, but this is just a solid piece of paper. I want these to drop a little bit, just a little bit below where my pocket is going to go, because I want the pocket to go just a little bit above so you have the tuckability there. So I'm going to glue these two on. Again, if this was just a solid piece of paper, these extra steps wouldn't be necessary. Oh, there goes that. Okay. I am going to glue these in place. I don't even really have to do this. I could just use this brown on brown, but I just felt like those gears really add something to it, so I'm going to put it on. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Sure, maybe like that. Straight-ish. And I didn't do it straight-ish, did I? And this is why I love using grids, because I'm not so great at eyeballing straight. Okay, there's one. I can put more glue on later if I need to make sure it stays down. 2. And I'm going to do this because I put some glue on there. Okay, so that. And now what I'm going to do, because remember, this bottom piece is going to be my hidden pocket. And I want these two. Did I want the bunny over here? The bunny, I guess it doesn't really matter. Or do I even? This one has a, maybe I'll just skip the bunny because they all have round bits on it. So we're going to do that. Okay. This piece, what I'm going to do is I'm again going to use a scratch piece. So I'm going to put it on. I'll make sure it's not upside down, Corey. I'm going to put it on like this so that there's a little bit of overlap because I want that pocket to be there, right? Okay, so I'm going to get a scrap piece of paper and put that scrap to hold these two pieces together to make a solid pocket because of the forming. Here we go. This is one of those tester bits. I'm just going to cut. Let's see, that's about 3 inches, it looks like. 3-ish. So I'm going to cut a little scrap of this thinner paper. And let's see, right about here. And then I'll cut this. And this is just to hold these two together to make them one pocket. Obviously, normally I would just make one pocket, but I really want this cool background on these individual cards. So I'm just going to glue these in place to make this one piece. And I guess one of the reasons I'm showing, oh, I made it too big. Well, that's okay. It's an easy thing to fix. One of the reasons I'm showing this is so that, you know, if you've got scraps or you've got something that you, like me, you need to piece together because you like the way it looks, well, there's a really easy way to do it. So now this is one uniform piece. It's, I'm going to put a little glue right here at the edge so that when I use this as a pocket, nothing tucks in that little back piece. I don't want it to lift. I could put washi there if I needed to, but really not necessary. Once this is dry, since it's up to the edge, it'll be golden. Okay, so there is my pocket base. And then I'm going to glue this down too, but you can see I've overlapped it here a little bit to make it a pocket, and I've overlapped the edges, and I'll trim those off afterwards. So I'm just going to glue down along the edges to make it into a pocket. Just like you would any front, what I call front-loaded pocket. That means it doesn't have hinges or gussets or what have you on the side. So there we go. And I'll match these up-ish. Beauty is, it doesn't have to be perfect. And there we go. And I'll give it a second to dry. So all of those steps would have been completely unnecessary if I just had a solid piece of paper and I'd put a solid piece of paper as a pocket. But because I wanted to piece this together, hence the changes. Okay, see, so you can see there, I just need to trim that down. I'll have to be extra careful on this side so I don't cut, as I'm trimming, I don't cut into my seam, my folded over seam. And this is really thick, so I probably shouldn't have used the guillotine and hacking at it. I probably should have used a straight edge, but since I've already got it here, we're just going to keep moving. Okay, there we go. And then I am going to use scissors for that because I don't want to cut that edge. All right. And now my pocket's there. I gave it a little bit of time. And I will cut this off. Okay. And now I have my front. All right. So this is going to be the front of my pocket. And this is what I've got. This is where I'm working with. This is basically the papers. The next step. I blew it. Do what I say and not what I do. Okay. When I'm creating this, I should have made my pocket smaller because, looky here. You need the bottom, when you lift up on your hinge or on your embellishment that you pull, you want it to pull above the bottom of the pocket. And because the bottom of my pocket's right here and my card isn't long enough, I blew it. So I could do one of two things. I could make this longer, right? Or I could add a second pocket here. But this is already really thick, so I'm not going to do that. So you know what we're going to do? I will come back and visit you later because you're beautiful, and I'm just going to grab another piece. Okay, so I've got this card, and we're going to use it. That's what we're going to do. All right, pretend you didn't see the rest. Learn from my mistakes. And I'm leaving this in, even though I've been learning some editing. I know, crazy. I'm not using it on this one, but I will be using it in the future. So there you go. Finally. I know some of you are probably saying it's about darn time, Corey. Okay, so there we go. And I'm actually, you know how I edge everything and ink everything? Well, I'm not going to do that on this one simply because I don't want it to be obvious. And so actually I need, because of the grain, the coffee dye grain, I'm just going to trim this off right here. Okay. Okay. Starting from scratch. Do as I say, not as I do. So this will be the size of my base of my card. And it is cardstock, so I'm good to go. When I put this on here, I need to make sure it goes up above where my pocket is going to be. So in this case, my pocket is about I'm going to go 2.5 inches because I can slide this above the top of my pocket. So I'm going to glue this down at 2.5 inches, and I'm going to mark it just so I don't do something foolish and make it not straight. So 2.5 and 2.5 on this side. You can make it any depth you want. Just make sure that your embellishment lifts above the top of your pocket. Okay, now I'll glue this down. And this is cardstock, so I try to give it a little extra moment or two to, I'll just use that other piece that I created on something else because this is really cool, and I've got a steampunk journal that I'm working on. I have so many journals that I've got in progress, but you know, that's what makes it fun. Okay, keep that straight. I want this straight. And there's my 2.5 inch mark. There's my 2.5 and my 2.5. So I'm going to put that up to there and match it up. And here we go. I'm gluing it down. Whoops. And I'm wiggling it as I glue it. I'm gluing this down. And so I'm creating my pocket. Now I could cut it off right here. And what I did on the other one is because it was thinner paper, I just trimmed off a little bit like that. And then I rolled it around the edge so that the bottom edge wasn't flush, it rolled over. Is that necessary? No, but it makes the bottom of the pocket a little bit sturdier if I were going to put something bigger or bulkier in there. So you could cut that straight off, or you could do what I just did there and fold it over. And then I'm going to glue that down. Okay, back to the base. Let's see, we are 20 minutes. 20 minutes? How is that even possible? 20 minutes in, and I still have the base. Okay. Corey at her finest. All right, this piece is 4 3/4 inches. So I want to go about the middle, and I want to use my embellishment. So I'm going to call, I didn't even measure, I'm going to call that about the middle. And I'm going to make a mark. All right. I want to be able to lift my owl medallion up above the top of the pocket, right? And I want it to be able to slide down to cover the pocket, just like that, okay? So now I need to make a slit right here. And I've got to be careful about how long I make it. So I don't want the slit to go down too far because otherwise it'll show. So I know I have to stop right here at the top of my pocket, and I don't want it to go up too far, but I want it to go up far enough. And you can mark that or not. I'm going to eyeball it, and maybe I shouldn't. Maybe this will come back and bite me, but this is supposed to be simple. And normally it is. I just made this way more convoluted than it needs to be. So let's see, we're going to call this maybe 2-ish inches. I want it to slide. And then I'm just going to move over a smidge. Beauty is I don't need to take off very much. It's like, what, maybe a 1/16 of an inch? I don't know. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be lovely because it's not going to show. And actually, you know what? Maybe this worked out better that it's on this because you can see it easier. And I will alter and use that. All right, so now I've got the slit, right? And I'm going to put my owl here, right? And it's going to slide up and down. Okay, so now I'm making the base piece. Now remember this strip that we started with? You're still going to come back and use that. Though, if I were using this, I could use this. It truly doesn't matter. This is a little too wide, but this is sturdy. So I take this strip and then I fold it in half, just like that. Then I'm going to take each of the ends and fold them to the middle. Right like this and right like this. Okay. So I've got 3 creases in half, middle, middle. And you can see right here, I'll pop it out the way it works. See? Half, middle, middle, right? So then what I'm going to do is I want these guys to be my wings. These guys are going to be the ones that I'm going to glue down here. And then so what I do is I take this piece and this piece, right? So I'm making it stand up like it's a mountain, just like this, okay? And I push this down, pushed it in the center. So I had it standing up like it's a mountain with the 2 wings on each side, because those are my hinges that I'm going to glue. So I made it stand up like this. And then I just took the center and I smushed it right down. Okay, just like that. Then it looks like a U with wings. I am going to glue the inside left and the inside right. Inside left, inside right. And I'm going to push those down, just like that. So when I'm all said and done, it's going to make an upside down T for Tim. Okay? Just like this. That's what it's going to look like. Okay? Now, I want to put this onto my base. Now, I've already checked my base. Like I said, it can be any shape. I know my base fits on the back of this easily. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here. And I'm going to glue the center of my embellishment, emblem, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to glue this base right on the back of here. If I need a little more glue, I can put a little more glue. I just put it on lightly. But I want the stability that that offers. All right. Then these are my flaps. Now you can see my flaps are a little long. I did that intentionally so you can see, you can easily adjust this. I need those flaps to go on the outside of my slit, but they don't have to be super long. So I just trimmed them down a little bit, right? See those guys, those do not get glued together. Now I'm going to take this piece the two bits, the two flaps that are not glued together are going to go into the slot I just made. And what you're going to be able to do is move up and down like this, right? Oops. Maybe I should put it in the right way. The glued piece, right? The T, flip your T upside down, and that goes in from the back, and your flaps that glue down go in the front, just like that. Okay, now I'm going to center this right on top, and I'm going to glue my emblem right down on top of here. What I want to do, this is the piece you've got to make sure, I want to make sure that when I pull this down, wherever I glue it, when I pull this down, I don't pull it down. See, I have a long slit here. I probably made my slit a little longer than I needed. I probably should have stopped it right about there. But you know what? That's an easy fix too, because all you got to do is put a little pattern paper up there, right? Just like them so, or whatever pattern paper you have. So if you make your slit too long, do not fret. You can fix this. You can easily alter it. The big thing at this point is you want to put your emblem centered on this piece, and you want to make sure it goes down far enough to cover the top of your pocket. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here and a little bit of glue here. And make sure it's centered. And I'm going to hold that in place for just a second. It's a lot of layers, and I put a lot of glue on, so I'll hold it just for a second. And now, in a perfect world, if this glue holds, I can, oh, see, it wasn't dry. See, this is why I hold it. I generally give it a little bit more time, obviously, but you know what? We'll fix it. We'll glue it right back on. And it's still centered and mostly straight. Okay, I'm going to give that a second to dry. So don't do the same thing again, but you can see from the back, I can move this up and down, okay? And I'll be able to do that from the front once this guy is dry. So when I slide it all the way up, I can access my pocket. I can tuck whatever notepad, letter, whatever, secret message in there. And then when my page is down, you do not see it. And that is how you do that. Here it is with a completely different style and color. And again, there's a little notepad there. And once it's dry, you'll see here, I can do this from the top. I don't have to be, see? I don't have to be working from the inside or the back side. I only did that because this is what the back looks like. I only did that because this is still wet. And that is our secret pocket. Okay, so way, way longer, but that was all on me. The project itself, once you do it, is quick, especially if you don't try to modify everything like I did. I still really love this, so I think I'm going to use it for something else because those are really cool pages. And thank you again, Cheryl. I'm sorry I was a flake. I've never flaked before, and God willing, I'll never flake again, but it was essential. Okay, so that is our first JJ 10-minute make. It took more than 10 minutes, but that's only because I showed you options. Let's work with it. And here is, where did I put it? I want to save my template because I'll forget how I did that. Well, I'll figure that part out later. You do not need to watch me fuss with that anymore. Oh, here it is. Okay. And again, I made this slot wide so you can see it. Your slot doesn't need to be nearly that thick. You just need it, you know, like I said, about 1/16 of an inch or so that you can easily slide it up and down. Okay. There's our first 10-minute make. Now, I don't know, a while ago, I was at an estate sale, and there was, you know, a lot of times there's old stuff, but there was some new stuff too. And there was a pack of cards and envelopes. So I'm going to show you, and I know I've showed it before. Let's zoom out a little bit. I'm going to show you how you can make a journal just using envelopes, any size. For this particular project, I would suggest using all the same size envelopes simply because it's a lot quicker. And if these are our 10-minute makes and you're wanting to make a journal base, then this would be a lot easier to have them all the same size. So I will show you how to make, and I've got previous videos and I know lots of people do too, but for the sake of continuity and putting this in a playlist, I will show you how to make a journal using greeting card envelopes. Conversely, I will show you how to make a junk journal, a quick, easy, no-sew junk journal using card bases. So I'll show you how to make a quick journal without sewing using envelopes, a quick journal without sewing using card bases, and a quick, this was there too, she obviously, or he, had never used it. These are small gift bags. I will show you how to make a junk journal, again, quickly and easily using, not envelopes, what are these called? Paper bags. These are just little paper bags. I don't know what size these are. These are what, 5-ish by 7-ish, maybe 4 by 7, something like that. I'll show you 3 quick and easy ways to make junk journals without sewing, just again for the sake of continuity. So that's coming up sooner rather than later, I hope. And my share. Okay, so I showed you this journal. One of the, actually I'll do this. I don't even remember where I saw this. This is what I call a double-sided bookmark pocket. Oh, I do remember. I do. Okay, I was in a bookstore in Galena, Illinois, maybe. There was a Snoopy game in the window, a Snoopy Clue game, and I went in to this toy stop next door, and there was a bookshop. And in the bookshop, the lady who was reading a book had this really cool bookmark that I'd never seen. She said somebody had made it for her, and it was a handmade bookmark, but it had 2 pockets on the front and 2 pockets on the back. So I had to come up with a way. Now, I know I could have just glued down paper, but I was looking at hers because she let me, because she was really nice like that. And I knew there was a way to make it, and so I figured out a way. Is it the best way? I have no clue, but I'm going to show you how I made it. I'm sure she got it from somebody else, so that's got to be around on the internet somewhere, but I really liked it, and I loved that it was versatile and fairly thin, and look at all the little treasures you can put inside these little itty-bitty pockets, and it's double-sided, and I'll put some sari silk or some lace or something, and isn't that just the cutest? So this will go inside this little mini journal, and why did I decide on this journal? Okay, because it's me and Squirrel. So I was, where are they? I was finishing up some bits when I've had, a little bit of time here and there. I always keep, for when I have just a little bit of time to create, I always keep cluster bases and varying degrees. Sometimes it's just the paper, sometimes it's the paper, the lace, and the sewing, whatever, and I just haven't put an embellishment. But sometimes I just want to create, and I don't have a lot of time, or I'm not able to spend much time, and I want to make something. So I always keep a bin of these on hand. And then when I finish them, I switch them over to this bin. And I was making some of these, finishing them up, the paper background was there. And then I add like a Tracy cluster of labels and the embellishment and sew and add lace and all those things. And there were a couple that sometimes they just live life as their embellishments. But every once in a while, they tell me what they want to be made into. So like this one, I just chose these big roses and I thought, oh my gosh, I need to make a vertical journal with just different pages of sheet music, because the title on here, if you can't see it, is opera, and it just lended itself to opera. So I'm going to make a sheet music journal with that. And this one, it was just this bit, and I thought, gosh, you know what? I remember with the project I did earlier this year with Rach and Bella Crafts, I remembered I had a printed piece of this paper from her digitals with the pale roses on it, and then I had one of these rose die cuts, and so I just inked that with some Tim Holtz ink and Distress Glaze, and I knew it needed, bottom line is I knew it needed to be made into a journal cover, and I had this scrap of card and one piece of this paper left, so that was clearly what I did. And I love this little journal that I've shared previously. Love the size. It's got a variety of papers in it. It just fits in my hand nicely, and if I have an idea, I can jot it down or scratch it down or make it or pop it in, and I really love it. So I wanted to make another small journal, and based on paper and the card that I had, this was the size that it came up, because I knew I wanted this to be an embellishment for a cover. And so I'm going to use some more crocheted lace around here for the spine, and I'll put in the pages. And so I thought, well, gosh, since I'm making things anyway, this piece will go in this book. It's just the right size. I'll put a hinge right here and glue it in as a page, and whatever I do with the rest of it. But I thought, and then the same thing with this bookmark. All these little treasures will get tucked in the pockets. Is this upside down? I don't know. Anyway, the treasures will get tucked in these pockets. Oh, and these are hinged pockets, by the way. They're you know, full width pockets, I guess I should say. So I just tuck these little treasures back in. I don't know what goes where. There we go. So this will go in that as well. And so I'll maybe some of the things I make, I have an enormous bin of scraps next to me. I think I shared it with you earlier this year. It is nuts. And in fact, it's so overwhelming, I'm going to have to cut it down a little bit or put some of the pieces into the bins they should live in order to do it, because it's just overwhelming. But I plan to utilize the rest of the scraps when I finish this up. Utilize the rest of the scraps from this kit and then some that coordinate. But you can see, gosh, I don't even know if you can see. This enormous bin is shoved full of things that I've used since January. So it's out of control and I need to sort it and I want to use that. So I don't even know why I went off on that squirrel tangent, but it was the bottom line is, so I'm going to be making things and putting them here, and I'll make things different sizes and such, and use them for a variety of different things. I wanted to say, this is the catch-up part in case you missed that. I got the most sweet and thoughtful happy mail from a lady in New South Wales named Avril, and she made me this absolutely stunning little daffodil journal, which, hello, I love daffodils. And she wrote me the sweetest little note. So thank you, Avril. And isn't that bunny just delightful? Look at him. Just too cute. And she made this little daffodil booklet. And I thought, aha, we shall make one of those. So in one of our JJ 10-minute makes, I will figure out how she made this and I will share it with you, because I thought that was absolutely delightful. There's a little pocket in the front, and I've seen similar things, but not exactly the same. And she's got daffodil on there, and it's got this really cool little hinge to hold it together. And yeah, and then there's another pocket right here. And she used a butterfly as the tab. So thank you, Avril. That was incredibly sweet. Came at, it was here when I got back from our vacation and right before I had the first surgery of the summer. So thank you. That was very, very sweet. And thank you for the inspiration. Oh, here we go. Viewer recipe journal. See, and this is what happens. So I'm sitting here and I'm playing. And I thought, oh, this will be another one of our 10-minute makes, right? JJ 10-minute makes. It's just a paper clip with a tab. Now, are there 65 million paper clips with tabs? Sure. But I was playing, and this just has a little notch here, and it has another layer over the top, and then it has a tab, and it holds it really tight. So I thought maybe that would be another one of our 10-minute makes. So I just left them together. And this is a different kind, similar principle, but it's just a different kind of a paper clip. And maybe we'll just do a day with some paper clips and things. This one, I thought this was in that bin that I just shared with you of things that, I know I had scraps and I make something when I have time to sit down and make. And I thought, how cool would it be to do a viewer recipe idea journal? And what I mean by that is, I'm not much of a cook. I have friends that cook and I love that about them, but I'm not much of a cook. But I do love a good recipe. I mean, who doesn't? So I thought it'd be kind of cool to make a journal with a variety of things, because the apples made me think, we live in Washington. Washington's the #1 producer of apples. An apple recipe would be really cool in there, right? Well, I can make apple crisp, though it's been years and years. But my point is, if viewers wanted to send in their favorite recipes or recipes they love or what have you, I could tuck them all into a journal and then have a viewer recipe journal. I thought that would be really, really cool too. Just thought I'd show you the way my brain works. It goes in 65 directions all at the same time. And my previous video, now where did I put those? I had them close. See, this is the bin that I was using. Oh, I thought that would make a really cool journal cover. I'll sew on it and I'll put some lace, and it says creating with scraps, because, we probably need another scrap buster idea journal too. But anyway, I've got the leftover little bits from that Rach and Bella kit in here. And I think, okay, so my previous video, I used real life things inspired by life, I think is what I called it, right? We made something, a Heidi little thing based on the brown sugar, and we made a dangle or charm based on this car freshener, and we made a little fold over pouch or pocket based on a room key card, right? So those are in there. Well, while I was on my trip, I found a couple more things that inspired me. and we will explore these too. So I got a bit of a cold while we were on our trip, and I had to buy Kleenex. And look, this little Kleenex packet, it's got a little, it's opened it up, right, like so, and then you get Kleenex on the right and Kleenex on the left. Well, clearly we need to make one of those, so that'll be one of our 10-minute makes. This, Corey, that's just an envelope. Yes, but I saw, where did I see it? I want to say the North Woods of Michigan? No, North Woods of Wisconsin. We were riding the Heart of the Vilas Trail, and there was a lady that had one of these, but it was folded over like this, kind of, and it wasn't a full length. And so it was kind of like a half pocket like this, and it was made into a bookmark, right? So let's just say, you know, this part's cut off, and so there was flowers or something under here, so it was only half, and it was made into a bookmark, and it was so cute. So I thought, okay, we're going to clearly make one of those in our JJ 10-minute mix. And then, oh, there was a great harvest bread. We stopped and saw our daughter in Rochester, Minnesota, and it just had these little wings to clip something in, you know, a little bit different. This is a gift card holder, but how easily could we do something along these lines to put in a journaling card or a notepad or what have you? So we'll make one of those in our 10-minute mix. And this one was my absolute favorite. So we did the Manitowish, and I apologize if I said that wrong. We rode that trail. We have e-bikes, which is why I was able to ride. But we rode this trail, and many of the places offered these little trail guides for a buck or two, whatever it was. But I saw this and I knew, okay, so you open it up like this, right? And it's the whole Manitowish Waters hotspot. And then you fold it back like this. So cute, right? So we're going to take a piece of copy paper, and we are going to I'm going to analyze it, do the folds, and then just cardstock on the front and back. But isn't that cool? So that'll definitely be one of our 10-minute makes. So just thought I'd share that with you, give you a quick guide of what's coming up, or a glimpse. Another thing that I've got here is, you know, you've seen me this before, when I'm inspired by 2025. Well, I've got a ton more pages. And you know what? Some of these things are things that I have made. Not that one, but some of these things are things that I have made, but some of these things are like, oh, I forget to play with chipboard like that, or cardboard. Oh, I forget to make a lace tag. So some of the JJ 10-minute makes will be inspired by these, what I've got in my book. Oh, like this. This is a cookie box, but does it have to be a cookie? Well, no, it probably should be a cookie because, although it's a cookie, but maybe we shouldn't put a cookie in our journal, but we could certainly put some other treasures. So we're going to do something like that. And again, that was something that I had done. But anyway, there's a whole bunch of things in here. So I thought some of these would make great 10-minute makes. And so we will be revisiting this book as well. Great, you only have another month or two till school starts. I know, but my ideas are bigger than my time allows. And this is the real beauty of this part, going back to the JJ 10-minute makes. So Tracy said she would pop on when she could if she had an idea or something. And I would love, love, love for other makers to do the same thing. Because, I mean, I can see something and take it in a completely different tangent, and somebody else can see something I've made and go off in another direction. That's what makes this so much fun, is because we can inspire each other. So if you have an idea for a video and you want to join the fun, please use hashtag JJ 10-minute makes. And as I'm on bed rest and watching videos and such, I will be happy to follow along and join your fun too. I love inspiring each other. Okay, so finally going to wrap this up. I'll show you really quickly some of the treasures. I didn't find much because we didn't shop much, but one of the things, I was at the auction in Shipshewana. They do it every Wednesday. They have a flea market from, I think it's May till September, October. And Shipshewana is in northern Indiana, just about, I don't know, an hour or so-ish from South Bend. So if you're a Notre Dame fan, you have an idea of where it is. Anyway, just really, really just shy of the Michigan border. There was this glass jar, and there was this big, ginormous tray of buttons, and there was a tray of all clear buttons, and you had to buy a couple or whatever it was. So that baby came home with me. I have buttons, clear buttons, pearl buttons, shell buttons, whatever, to last until the end of anybody's days. So that came home. When we were in Galena, Illinois, which is a charming, Galena, Indiana, When we were in Galena, there was a bird shop, and I got my sister a really cute handmade birdhouse. But the tissue paper that came on it is absolutely gorgeous birds. And I've got some plans for a couple different bird books. So I saved the tissue paper. So even though that wasn't a treasured find, it was still a treasured find. Love that tissue paper. Okay. So my daughter's mother-in-law, I have two daughters that are married, and one of her mother-in-law lives in Minnesota, Iota, I believe. And she loves to a vintage sale and thrift and such. And so occasionally she finds me treasures. And that sweet lady, Renee, bought me these. When she finds things that she thinks I'll like, she bought me these gorgeous laces. So thank you, Renee. She's not a paper crafter, but still. This was found at a shop in Michigan, I think. There was this delightful, I'm drawing a blank on what it's called. Oh no, this one was at a farmer's market on Lake Michigan. Don't remember which city off the top of my head, though I have it written down. Lady obviously used a cinch or a bind it all or something, but she used old library cards as the cover for these little itty bitty notebooks. And so I just had to get one for myself and my friend Tammy, who's turning 60 this year. So anyway, I thought those were super, super cute. Had to have them. There you go. Yooper playing cards. One of the places we drove through was the Upper Peninsula. Hadn't been there before. Absolutely phenomenal. Beautiful pasties. Oh my gosh, the good pasties we ate. But anyway, things that are unique to the Upper Peninsula. I had to get these cards because could they be any cuter? So got those. See, so some of the treasures are vintage. Some of the treasures are not so vintage, but that's okay. They all work beautifully. Oh, and somebody asked me, how can you make a junk journal if it's not junk? Well, everybody has a different idea of what junk is. You know, I feel like if I'm saving it from the landfill, it might as well be junk. Old broken things, laces. But use new, use old, use a combination, use whatever makes you happy. I just feel like it's silly to get hung up on labels. Do you. To quote our famous and fabulous Tim Holtz, you do you. Anyway, lady artisan at a Saturday market, farmer's market, did this little charm, and I thought that would be absolutely beautiful on a flower journal as a dangle or a charm. It says faith. So I got that, and oh, here we go. It probably says it on there. Stained Glass Studio, Custom Glassworks by Kim, and it doesn't say what city it is, but whatever city it is, it's in Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota, somewhere in there. Renee also got me this old ABC book. Look at this. Is this to die for or what? I think Renee got me this. Then again, I could have found this. You know what? I might have found this in Napanee, Indiana. Has my hands down favorite antique vintage mall. It's called Dutch Lady Antiques, and it's in Coppice Commons. They have the best pretzels on the planet in there. Napanee is where we bought our trailer, but I'd been there several times, and I'd been to Coppice Commons several times. They've got just a phenomenally delightful old mill kind of a place that has individual shops and awesome pretzels. There's a popcorn shop. There's all kinds of things. But there's an antique mall in there, Dutch Lady. And I love it because she's very mindful about not overwhelming her booths. You know, if you've gone antique malls much, some of the booths, because they're individually curated, some of them just are overflowing, and it's hard to walk in there and not hit anything with your purse and not trip and what have you. Okay, maybe that's just me. But she's very mindful about how she has people put things out and not overcrowding. So it's delightful to look in. But anyway, this is an ABC book with all different fonts. Look how freaking cool this is. And I believe I got this there. Is that not going to be adorable in a journal? I just fell in love. Thought that was really cute. Okay. It doesn't say it. We stopped in a tiny little town to get coffee because they had good coffee. And there's a coffee shop that was unique. I think this was Wisconsin. I think it was Wisconsin. Coffee shop that was unique in that the coffee shop is inside an artist's mall. And it was the most stunning array of handmade art things. This was a bookmark, and it's wood, and it's painted on wood. $6. That's it. I thought that was, hand painted. And it's in the plastic sleeve protecting it. But Oh, and it has this on here, so I can't pull it out without cutting it. But I want it to stay protected, but absolutely gorgeous. And so I found lots of treasures there. Oh, this daffodil, because you know, daffodil journals. I found that postcard, vintage postcard. Let's see, 1910. I think this was $1. I mean, I've seen places like the Allentown Paper Show. Postcards like this can go for $10, $20. This was like maybe $1. All kinds. These aren't vintage, but I thought these postcards were really cute for 75 cents each or 10 for whatever. But for birds, because I am going to do another bird journal. I had so much fun doing Tracy's bird journal that I am going to do another bird journal. I've always loved quilling, and I think these would make I got a little overboard. I like supporting individual artists too. I just dropped something. Oh, here's another one of those really pretty. Oh, this is for my friend Lisa. Lisa, if you're watching, here you go. This is going to be for you. Don't let me forget. She's doing a sunflower journal, and this is a hand-painted sunflower bookmark. Isn't that adorable? Just a little wooden bookmark. I thought that'd be perfect in the journal. Anyway, I thought these would make phenomenal covers. These are beautifully done quilling, and iconicquilling.com. I don't know where. Anyway, quilling. And I thought these would make stunning covers. Stunning. So maybe I'll use them for covers. And here was, these are prints. These are card prints of a lady who did cardinals. And then, oh, here we go. This is another one. It's a print. Michigan art by Michigan artist. That's in that shop, that coffee shop I was telling you about. And so I got a couple. Oh, and this one's for Lisa too. Lisa, if you're seeing, don't let me forget, this is for you. So I got a couple of these because, you know, I had to, because they're absolutely beautiful. Oh, Grayling, Michigan. That's it. That's the name of the place. Okay, it was Grayling, Michigan. That was the shop we went to. That was a coffee shop and an art shop. And I could have walked out with half that store. It was just incredible. And then this one I got for Tracy because Lord knows Tracy probably doesn't have enough little fox images. And he was just as cute as he could possibly be. And then I collect dandelion seeds, and I've done a lot of them with dandelions, so I needed this dandelion one for a wishes journal. These are from Renee. She got these at the, maybe these are from my daughter Amy. Anyway, sometimes when she goes to estate sales and such, she finds treasures for me. And so she got me these. And then there's another piece of that bird tissue paper. And this was in, I believe that was in the Grayling, Michigan shop too. It was. And so it's an ABC of nature, and freaking love this. It would be adorable in a child's room. But along with it, they sold these hangers that I thought were really cool. They're magnetic wooden hangers, right? So there's fairly strong magnets. You just put on the back like that and like this. And this has got the heavy plastic on it as well, so keep that in mind. It's like they drilled out a little hole, and then you put these here, and then you hang it up like that. I'm sure everybody's seen these but me, but I thought it was really, really cool. And I don't know if I'm going to put this, I don't know where I'm going to put this. I'm thinking maybe in our new travel trailer. I don't want to put a ton of stuff in it, but I really, really love this because we loved our visit to the North Woods. We'd never been to the North Woods before, and we were impressed. So there's that. Okay, and then some actual vintage stuff, I suppose, new stuff. Oh no, this, some vintage postcards for really reasonable prices. Sometimes it's more about the person, like if I want to support a person, but I really liked these cards, and they're clearly old and they're clearly beautiful, and I just thought I needed some. And then I purchased these secretary records tickets. I thought those were really cool. And then these are, I don't even know what they are, deposit cards, little deposit cards. Got those. And then this is just a pack of, this is moderner stuff, I guess, but it was just $2, and I thought, oh, kind of fun. I needed some paper. St. Germain, Wisconsin. Oh, we went there. It's really, really cute little town in the North Woods. And here is Wisconsin Trails, bike trails. We really enjoyed the bike trails we rode in Wisconsin. We did the Heart of the Vilas, and absolutely gorgeous. We really enjoyed the North Woods of Wisconsin. And then we went to Door County, right over here. Loved going through Green Bay. It was great to see the backyards and the tailgate, all the tailgate houses, because if you've not been to Lambeau Field, I think that's what it is. Anyway, if you've not been there, it's surrounded by houses and homes, and a lot of them look like Airbnbs, and they are decked out for tailgate parties. It's awesome and fun to watch. But from where we were in the northern Upper Peninsula and coming back down, we went through Green Bay to get to Door County, Wisconsin, which was again stunning and beautiful. So we got to see all that, but we really loved our time in Wisconsin, so I wanted to get that. These are some vintage tchotchkes, little Victorian-esque. I don't do much with Victorian, but I like having it on hand to make for other people. And here's a calling card. Gotta love these vintage calling cards. I just think they're beautiful. So I got those little bits and pieces, and then the rooster. The rooster kind of cracked me up. Editorial room of the Farmyard Gazette. So there's that, and some more of these cards, Easter cards. I don't remember why I chose these. Oh, you know what? It came in a little packet, that's why. And then there's some more sheet music and dictionary page and such. So there's those. And then when I was in Shipshewana, now I love the auction, and I go when I can, but in the summer, honestly, it gets really humid and really loud in there. So there were some things that I wanted to bid on that I just didn't because it was too much. It was too loud. I left earlier. So I got this little Kewpie. I know some of my readers love these Kewpie people, so I thought maybe this would make a great prize or something for them. I got a vintage paper pack, and I thought that was really cool. All of this came randomly in a gift card pack, in a box that you did on, and I paid almost nothing for it. So vintage Christmas cards and birthday cards, and these are, sometimes I wouldn't use necessarily the entire card, but maybe I could use a piece of it. Like, I thought that was really pretty. I hope I've been in frame for some of this for you. But there's other bits too. Like, clearly we needed this Arby's vintage roast beef thing. And Evergreen Nurseries in Lowell, Indiana, middle card. Just all kinds of paper ephemera, basically. All of these look like they're probably from the 40s, 50s, and 60s, maybe even a little older. Wedding wishes. Oh, this was the base. When I stored them, rather than going through each and every piece, I just kind of put them all together. Cashmere bouquet. Oh, isn't that pretty? I thought that was really pretty. Again, not necessarily my favorite style, but... And here we go, some Van Buren Elementary Awards for Field Day. Doesn't say the year. Oh, here we go, 1988. Spelling bee, 89. Oh, wait a minute. That wasn't that long ago. And cards. Bush Road Cart Company, an advertisement. Oh, here we go. These are some vintage advertisements, which are fun on one side. They reminded me of children's nursery rhymes. Thought this would be really cute in a nursery rhyme book. Gems of the Bible. And there we go again. So just some more vintage advertisements, calling cards, letters, cards. Okay, she's kind of scary looking. Hoyt's German Cologne. It's really cool. Rubifoam for the teeth, tooth powder. I don't know that she would sell me on tooth powder, but maybe that's just me. Ephemera bits. To somebody. Oh, well, that's kind of cool. And here you go. Dr. Price's ice cream baking powder. So more ads. Cards. I just think these make the best tucks. One thing that I would love to hear from you, if you're still with me after an hour, is I do not have, the way I store my current embellishments, I'm happy with. But the way I store all my old vintage stuff, it's in a variety of my sewing machine drawers. And it's haphazard and it's all over the place. And I just don't have a great system. I haven't found a great system for that because I forget to use it. And I've got, a decent bit of this stuff. And I really, really love it. Like this old envelope. I mean, come on. But I don't have a great system. So if you have a system that works for you, now I know many people make embellishment holders. And I tried those, and I just don't love them. I never open them up and look into them, which is problematic because, okay, this looks late 60s to me. Sorry, guys. Maybe it's the bright pink and the just married, and whoa. Two can live as cheap as one. And an old bag. 78. Okay, so not that old. I mean, relatively. And so this is just all of this kind of, more of this kind of stuff. And like I said, I paid almost nothing for it. And I have a huge variety of treasures to tuck in my journals. Old envelopes. I love using old envelopes when I can. You know, season's greetings. Oh, here you go. A money gift card. No money in it, but you know what? This would be absolutely darling in a Christmas journal. Oh, more of these evergreen nursery tags from Lowell, Indiana. I really like those. They were just in a random box. I don't remember exactly, but I think I maybe paid $5 for all this stuff at the auction. Nobody wanted it. And again, there was more, but I couldn't stay any longer. Okay, so there you go. Long enough. Catching up. Hashtag JJ 10-minute makes. Please join in. Please have fun with it. I intend to come back sooner rather than later and show you how to do those 3 different kinds of journals. I don't know if I'll put them in one video, or maybe I'll just do either 3 short videos or 1 video with it broken down into, like, if you want the envelope or the card or the gift bag. And then a series of short videos. Thank you to everyone for all the well wishes and the thoughtful, kind comments. I hope you're enjoying a wonderful, blessed summer. Thank you. Take care and happy creating.